Hello everyone. It's been a long time since I've seen you all in one place, and I'm so happy about that. Thank you for coming back to the annual meeting, first live annual meeting since it got canceled in 2019. So welcome, and I'm so very happy to get the name tags because some of us may have slipped up and we aren't quite sure who we're talking to, so be sure and put on the name badge. I have a few thanks, and then I'm going to ask you to peruse the materials on your table before I introduce our keynote speaker. I want to thank Kathy Shigeta, Jody Matthews, and former staff member Alex South for all their hard work this past year. The things that have happened around here would not be possible without you all, and I want you to know how much I appreciate you. We have some excellent volunteers in Lynn Ayers, who's not here today, Malcolm Romine, who keeps us on the straight and narrow, and Brad Alspaugh, who is not here today, but he's the fellow who brings in the jail trustees to push and shove all the heavy stuff around for us. So if you see the road truck out and the guys in orange, wave. They do us a very good turn.
They do.
I also want to thank the membership committee who planned this extravaganza. Margaret Kenton Long, here. Laura Scott, who's not able to be with us today, and Stephen Bonney, who is also not able to be with us today. The exhibits committee, who hung the student art show once again and who have renewed and installed various new exhibits this past year, are Gwen Morris, Vicki Meehan, Mary Zirkle, Rita Shendell, Jerry Bates, and Warren Macy. Again, did I miss anybody? Martha Opdahl, thank you. On my other list, Martha is listed, but the Mac on my desk decided that it was too tired to work today, so I couldn't print out my fabulous list. Those people are the movers and shakers as far as getting things up on the walls and hanging from the ceilings, and I appreciate that very, very much. They work hard for you all. Okay, I'd like you to take a few minutes to look over your materials, and if you have any questions, there's cups of pens on the table so you can write down your questions or comments. These scissors that are on your table are not for poking each other. They are for cutting the top off the cookie container that is on your little plate on the table. Some of them were a little notorious for getting open. So take 5. Wow, it's like class. Some of you did that assignment ahead of time, didn't you? Looking over your material? 20th year, if you are a founding member and you can do it, would you stand up and let us give you a round of applause? All right, we'll consider that a round of applause for our one founding member who is here. I think you were the only one. Warren, did you stand up?
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. You can't climb ladders either, so just so you know. So now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the founding member who was voted Miss Museum 2003, and she's still here to be Miss Museum 2023, Jinsey Scott Bingham.
Well, I'll have to tell you that my fee went up when I saw I was going to be the la-di-da mystery celebrity speaker. And before I forget, Steve Bonney sends his best wishes to all of you. He's had a tough time. He's had a total of 7 surgeries on that knee, and he is now recovering from a clean-out process. He may be home later this spring. We'll hope so. We're going to talk about good news from humble to rumble. Welcome to this meeting of our favorite museum people. It's been a good year recovering from the COVID epidemic. Many museums didn't make it, but we did through these tough times because we had good boards and great leadership. And here we are celebrating 20 years. Our website says that the Putnam County Commissioners gave us 2 rooms at Jones School. Well, yeah, there's a lot more to that story. At that time, Dr. Don Bratton, local veterinarian, much loved and respected in the Putnam County area, was president of both the Putnam County Historical Society and the Putnam County Cemetery Board. Now, the Historical Society had been looking for a place to house a museum for years. The Cemetery Board didn't really need a room. But since the commissioners and county council had taken over the Jones School, there was a room for everybody. And the Putnam County Cemetery Board got a room. Dr. Bratton, who was heading the lookout committee for a new location, said, let's give those rooms to the fledgling Putnam County Museum. We had 2 rooms. We had a wastebasket, a chair, a desk, and more sun than the planet Mercury. But we survived. Sarah Cheeseborough was named our first director. She actually lived with Doc and June Bratton until she got her feet on the ground. Museum supporters were collaring people on the street asking for donations, both artifacts and money. Donations poured in. Sarah got married and had a darling little boy named Wyatt. Wyatt had lots of grandmas. The Historical Society dissolved and morphed into the Museum Board. The Kroger building became available. Volunteer carpenters, designers, movers, and drivers carefully packed all of those treasures we had acquired and brought them here to 1105 North Jackson Street. Now keep in mind, these treasures had been brought to the museum in paper bags, plastic sacks, cardboard cartons over the shoulder when they left Jones School to come to the museum. Everything was meticulously wrapped and stuffed and protected and handled individually like local Mona Lisas. Now, in those days, humble would have been a step up. There would have been a couple of steps up. After the move to a bigger building with more possibilities, the rumbles began to vibrate. Community support increased. The hunt was on for another director because our Sarah got an opportunity to go to a museum with a wonderful job, but that was in Fort Wayne. We were on the hunt. Dr. Bratton served as the president of the first museum. He had a great following. Sally Gray was another strong supporter. Sally was the retired Putnam County Superior Court judge, and she was a great fundraiser. Nobody said no to the judge. She got blood out of every turnip in town. We miss her. Well, over the years, we've had some very good boards, and we've had some really great directors. Two of the most outstanding back then were Stacy Klingler and Tanis Mundy. Mavis Broadstreet, a local from Fillmore, was great help as we were getting established. Mavis knew where the bones are buried. She knew how to pronounce local names, whether somebody was a McGoy or a McGay, and those people let you know right away which they were. She knew how to pronounce bias. You all know bias, B-U-I-S. What else would you call it? Well, we've all heard a million ways, but the best one she knew was her old boss, Mace Aker. Mace was announced once on the local radio station as Mass Acker. Lisa Mock was elected to the board. She has a degree in fine arts from Ball State. She's from our neighbor, Morgan County. She's local. She was appointed executive director of the Putnam County Museum in one of the best board decisions ever made by this organization. The rumbles are getting stronger. Over the past few years, we have struggled through the pandemic. We had great leadership. Kathy Shigeta and Jody Matthews and our Alex, who is around here someplace, had great people skills and great professional skills. They've kept us going. Murray Bright has led a great board, and Murray has been a great leader. When Murray took over, he looked around the room and said, let's make this the best little museum in the state. Big rumble. So with your support, we'll continue to thrive and showcase our local county history and the folks who made it happen. From humble to rumble. And remember, old friends are best friends. So folks, let's make some noise. Let's rumble.
Thank you, Jency. No one can tell a story like you. We appreciate it. Jency and I were discussing the cake. I want to let you know there's a trap door back here. And as soon as we finish the business meeting, Jency's going to slip in the trap door, pop out of the cake later on.
People believe that.
Well, it's a great honor to be here today in person and call this meeting to order. We ask that if you give a motion, please give your name so that we can keep accurate records. Our first item of business is the virtual annual meeting minutes. Steve Bonney, as you already know, is unable to be with us today. Margaret Keaton Wong, our Vice President, will be here in the event there's some comments or questions. We've given you time to review the minutes and the financial report. And so I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes, unless we have any comments or concerns. Yes.
I have to stand up. I was going to make a motion that we approve the minutes. Malcolm Robine's the name, in case anybody didn't know.
You don't have to stand, Malcolm.
Thank you.
Malcolm Romine moves to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Glenn Morris, second.
Glenn Morris, second. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, I call for a motion to approve the minutes. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, Larry Tippin, our treasurer, will review the financial report and answer any questions or comments you might have about that. Larry?
Thank you, Murray. Appreciate it. So I've finishing my second term on the board. I've been a member, I've been president, and then now treasurer of the board. I decided that I'm going to go ahead and finish my term, give somebody else the opportunity. And I've worked with some of the best group of people from every Murray and all of you that are here. Been wonderful to work with. The treasurer's report. You've seen the financials. Sometimes the numbers don't tell the whole story. So I'm going to give you a little bit more in-depth information on some of the items. You can see from the financial report, we have assets of over $1.6 million, including ownership of this full building now. You know that we own the whole thing. And in our profit and loss statement, we have just over $287,000 gross profit, $240,000 operating expenses, and then $13,000 and change of non-operating for a net of $33,116.20. So I'll explain some of those more significant items. So this board, this past board, have been committed to keeping upkeep of this building, the joys of home ownership, where we get to do the upkeep, and we've been committed to not just kick the can down the road, but to keep it up so the future boards don't have to have a significant expense in the future. For instance, we did paving on the parking lot. We had a few structural issues, including we had bats in our belfry that we were getting in. So we did some masonry work and no bats were harmed. Made sure that happened. With some masonry work in the front of the building, $3,600 worth of that. We're no longer qualified for NAP credits. If you don't know what NAP credits are, you could look it up. And if you look it up, you still won't know. But basically, we get, if you qualify or you're in a disadvantaged area, which this greenhouse will have been into futures, a donor can give NAP credits, and then they give donation, they get a NAP credit. So for someone we lost that opportunity, about $20,000 worth, I believe, we've been getting in the past. But we had some significant individual donations, which we were extremely grateful for. We can't thank you enough for that. We had paid property taxes in 2021 and transitioned from that part of the building to being for-profit, not-for-profit. We appealed that, saying that we're not-for-profit now. The Property Tax Control Board agreed, and they gave us $15,000 back. We very much appreciate that. And with that, we're able to give some increases, much needed increase in pay for some of the part-time staff. Then we went from 4 to 3, the part-time staff, and then full-time went from 2 to 1. And then some of the things in the red, the non-operating, we keep it out of our operating budget. So it's things like we spent money on restoring the acts of the county, which the county reimbursed for it. If you have not seen that, that's one of the first things you see when you walk in with the red background. The actual handwritten act that created Putnam County. The actual handwritten act. We found, Nate Wilson actually found it in the county clerk's office. And it was in not good condition, so we had it restored. Then the county reimbursed us. So that money, those kind of things were going through the non-operating. And then things like that. And then we spent about $10,000 in architect fees for phase 1 of the build out of the other part of the building, which is going to take a little bit of time before we get that done. So that's what that $13,000 negative meant, that is. So do we have questions on the financials? No questions? So.
Okay, you've heard the financial report. Larry has asked for comments, questions. Hearing none, I'll call for a motion to accept financial reports. Do we have a motion?
Chris Worcester, so moved.
Chris Worcester, so moved. And do we have a second?
Jordan Vaughn.
Jordan Vaughn seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Larry. This next individual has accepted a rather daunting task. She is the chairman of the governance committee and been working very, very hard this year. We've got lots of things for Vicki and her committee to do, and so at this time it's my honor to introduce to you Vicki Tim, chairperson of the governance committee, and she's going to discuss the new bylaws.
Yay, Vic.
There's an opportunity to fall back here. I hardly ever miss an opportunity. I'm going to walk out this way, try to remind you. Okay, so I just want to first say on the committee is Kurt Kromenaker, and then we recruited 2 people that were not on the board, Ken Heeke and Vivian Whitaker, who both are just a wealth of information about bylaws, so that was very helpful. The bylaws have not been looked at since 2018, so there were a lot of small fixes that we needed to do, and I'm going to just tell you all about it now. I know how excited you must be. So I'm just going to really go over what the changes have been. And the board did approve these bylaws, but now it is up to the membership to ratify them. Under Article 3 Directors, we expanded who could be on the board. It used to say that it could just be a Putnam County resident, but we expanded that to include anyone with an affiliation with Putnam County, a resident, landowner, or former resident. The next thing is under termination. This really was our initial charge from Murray about sort of fleshing out a procedure for what to do if the board members do not show up for the meetings, which really haven't had that much trouble with, but you know, it's been COVID, so we have that. So what we came up with is that we outlined a process that actually says if you miss 3 meetings in a row or 4 meetings in a 12-month period, that is actually your tender of resignation, and that then the procedure would be that the secretary would tell the president would contact the person, and then if the board member feels strongly, they can petition the board with a letter. And you know, I don't know what board would say no, you can't stay on the board, but anyway, there's just a little feedback loop there. So if somebody is really interested. So the other idea in there is that we will find something else for the board member to do if they are not going to stay on the board. That there are other, we have so many other opportunities that there will be find something for them to do with us so they can stay involved. Then down to the term of office, that's D, still under Article 3 directors. We added an additional 3-year term. So after you have your first 3-year term, then you can be reelected for 1 or 2 additional times for a maximum of 9 years of your own term. Really, this is why we did this. This year was unique, and we have 4 officers, and 3 of them are finishing their terms and leaving. And so I thought maybe we could snag one of them to stay, but alas, I really respect that so many people have told me no. I'm not used to it. So we didn't get any of the people who are leaving to stay, but we do have, I think it was Vivian Whitaker on our committee who said, you know, this really is more in line with the old days when people had 2 4-year terms. So 9 years, we'll just see. We'll just see how it goes. All right. Then we get around to, still under Article 3, meetings. We put in writing that there will be virtual option for all meetings. And we have used that extensively already. And I guess that is one of the things we learned from COVID that has worked out. So we have our very fancy microphone so people can hear in the meeting and the screen. Then over to the presidential duties. This is under Article 4 of officers and employees. We just added a little line that said that the executive director and the president will consult together on the agenda for the board. And then under executive director, we took out the part that says that the executive director will not be involved in the nominating committee. Had we not had her this time around, it would have been more difficult, since she is the one who knows who frequents the museum and who brings things in, who has a real interest. So we included that. Under all the officers, it previously said that every officer shall be an ex officio of the committee, of all the committees. And we took that out to say they may be an ex officio member. The secretary got a little bit beefed up to include responsibility to monitor attendance and brought in line with the way we practice now with the secretary. Under treasurer, we just changed a little language in here to say that the treasurer will provide oversight and ensure the deposits are made, because that actually, the staff does most of that now. Under miscellaneous, we kept 2 signatures on checks, but added the executive director as one of the signatories. And then down to other committees. This is under Article 5 committees, other committees, other than executive. Now we have put this in writing that there's finance, governance nominating, membership, program, and exhibits, communications, which I don't think is active right now, events, same thing, fundraising, same thing, and other committees as we need. We spent a lot of time, this is under miscellaneous number 2. We spent a lot of time talking about the financial records and how often they should be reviewed and they should be audited. And so it was wonderful to have both a banker and and Kirk Promenaker, who's a CPA, on the board. And so what we have decided, what we wrote in here is that the museum shall keep the books and records of accounts and shall have every 3 years or earlier, if needed, a review by a certified public accountant. Then number 3 that was there was an article about, it was at the very end, which was not really related to that. I think this one says you can't get any money for being on the board. So that got moved up to miscellaneous instead of where it was. Oh, about the last page. We spent a lot of time talking about what to do if the museum should cease to exist. It's probably not a very pleasant conversation on our 20th birthday party, but the language that was in there was sort of uncomfortable, and it talked about the things that were on loan to the museum, and that those things are restricted and have to go back to the donors or to the donor's family. But there was also a line in here that said all the artifacts and collections should be returned if possible to the original donor. And we thought that that was perfect in the first couple of years when they were just starting out to see if we were going to make it go. And so I think we made proof of ourselves. So we took that out, and what we really say here is that things will go to the Putnam Community Foundation to decide what needs to be done, that if artifacts need to be sold, to pay the bills, that will happen first, and that all the endowments, you know, the foundation will decide, which I'm sure in their documents it says that already, that they have that authority. So that is the end of my review. And it took about 7 minutes, and we've been working on it. About 10 months.
When I asked her to chair the committee, she didn't have any idea what that job was going to turn into. She's done a great job, and her committee's done a great job. You've heard her report. Are there any comments or questions?
Good job.
Yeah.
Hearing none, I'll call for a motion to accept the changes of the bylaw.
Lynn Tweedy, so moved.
Then Tweedy gives a motion, a second.
I second.
Malcolm Romine, second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Vicki, for your hard work. And now since you're up here, I'd like for you to introduce the nominees for our new board members.
I'm delighted to. So we were in a little bit of a pickle. We had 3 members leaving, and then last year in the class that came on, Kurt Promenade and myself, there were 2 other members who did not even finish out the first year and resigned. So we have those 5 members that need to be replaced. And we really weren't up to our top number 13 yet. So given that we wanted all these committees to start working, we thought we should finish. So now we have a 13-member board and 7 new members of that 13. So I'm happy to introduce the first person, Mary Zirkle, who was already on the board for 6 years and has had 1 year off. So she is coming back as a whole new, great. So, thank you so much. And I just want to say how gratifying it was as I didn't do this all myself, but as we asked people, you mostly said yes. And I'm just so grateful for that. So as you can see in your nominees, also we have John Zeiner, which we are delighted to have back, and many of us have spent a lot of time with John on other boards, and so that was very exciting. Mike Harmless, who is, I think, still away right now. Also Phyllis Ropiki, and Randall Jones, and Lane Routh is here. Maybe he could put his hand up. And Catherine Dory, I think I skipped you, yes. Okay. All right, so those are the new nominees. A couple of these people have been given finishing the 2 people's terms who fell off the board this last year. And the rest we're going to sort out. Don't look again at your bylaws about what it says.
Careful.
Would those new members please stand? Okay, you have heard the nominees for the coming board. Call for a motion to accept these nominees.
I move that the nominations be closed and the ballot passed as unanimous.
Jensen. Thanks, Jensen. Do we have a second? Jordan Bond, seconds. Any further comments, questions? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Welcome to the board. We ask each of our committee chairs to give us a very brief description of their committees, what they've been involved with doing, and they will also mention in their presentation that we cannot survive without help from the community. So if you're interested in the museum and would like to serve on one of these committees, these chairpersons will be excited and happy. So Vicki, go ahead, you start.
Well, I just want to say, we really feel like we have a strong group of candidates this year and are delighted with what our future looks like. Going forward, we're going to try to be a little more strategic about looking at the whole board and where we're going, and looking for different kinds of expertise as we recruit. But I think the committee did a good job at this point. We worked on the bylaws. I think I've read those bylaws 25 times. That's a tedious job, really. And then we did our recruiting, but also Murray assigned us to work on the board member job description. And I'll tell you, I read it, and the bylaws were a dream compared to the board member job description. It was just, there was no passion in it, let me just say it that way. There was no passion. And so there are a couple of us still trying to work on that. So when you new board members have your orientation, you won't have a job description, sorry. But you will get one, hopefully that will be inspirational, more so than you must do this, you must do that. It's very difficult. And we would just welcome all of your suggestions about new board members in the future, and also committee members. And if you yourself are willing to do that, I would just be delighted to start taking notes. We have a list of about, I think, 15 other people that might at some point agree to come on the board. So as you're thinking about who would be great, just please let me know, or Kurt. Is there anything else you want to say?
Thank you. Margaret Keaton Wong will talk to you about her membership committee.
Hi. This will be very brief. So 2 interests of the membership committee is retaining our members and attracting new members. So 2022 was a very successful year with both those endeavors. Our total membership grew by 8% to 229, and 12% of that were new members. So we're very happy with those numbers. As we all know, the museum has been under unprecedented duress due to the pandemic. The fact that our doors are still open and that we're actually thriving is really something to celebrate. But the most important part of all of this is the members. It's you. So we really want to celebrate you today, and thank you. We'd like you to know how much we appreciate your interest, your loyalty, and your generosity. Another function of the membership committee is taking part in the planning of the annual meeting. And any member of the museum is eligible to have a seat on this committee. It's not a requirement to be on the board. So if you've enjoyed yourself today, or you have some ideas for how we could build on this, please consider joining the committee. The incoming chairperson will be Laura Scott. Unfortunately, she was not able to be here today. And of course, we're very glad that we're able to host this in person today for the first time since 2020. So this is really a big moment for us. We're happy to see you here at the museum, and we hope that you'll be visiting often through the year. Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret. Our other chairperson is Gwen Morris, who handles program and exhibits and was also the chair of the expansion program.
Since I've already fallen once this week, it'll be very nice to be back here. I just want you to know, first of all, this is the hardest working committee in the entire museum. I'm a little biased, but I just want to thank again Warren Macy, Nikki Meehan, Mary Zirkle, Martha Abdel, Jordan Vaughn, Jerry Bates, and Rita Schendel. They are amazing people to work with and really fun to work with as well. As you see, we always start every year with the student art show, and this year it just brings joy to all of our hearts when we hang it. It is an amazing opportunity to see what all the students in Putnam County are able to accomplish. In May, the trains come back, and this year we have refreshed many of our exhibits. Just a few to mention: the natural history exhibit, the DePaul exhibit's been refreshed, the pottery exhibits have been refreshed, and 3 or 4 folks that I want to thank is starting with Lane Ralph and his Rookwood and Roseville pottery exhibit that's still here. And then Nikki Meehan, Bill Meehan's retrospective that was here until just before the student art show came down. And if you didn't get to see it, you missed something. It was amazing. And Lynn Tweedy, thank you for your photograph show. We loved it. It was wonderful. We had a Lego bash in January with over 300 people here. It was all about it. It was just amazing. And then our cowgirls will all be refreshed or restored by the end of March and back here from South Bend. So those, some have been rehung, but a few are still yet to come. And one of the things we're really excited about, April 16th at 2 o'clock, mark your calendars, the first generation Peeler students, Chuck Wagner, Nancy Lovett, and David Berg will be here for a program. Warren Macy will be the monitor of that program. And last but not least, July 25th, from 1:30 to 4, we're going to have another birthday bash, but this is 3-way. This is the county, the city, 200 respectively for both of those, and our 20th, and it will be a bash of bashes. We are really excited about all kinds of free food, music, lots of fun things. So be sure.
I've been wearing a cake.
What? Yes, I plan to reuse all of these for all these decorations. Thank you. I appreciate your help. And if you want to join this committee, we always need help. Okay, I'll be fine.
Thank you. These folks have worked extremely hard this year. It's my task now to talk about the state of the museum, and I have been told by one person to not be boring and to make it short. She's still here, so I'll have to do that.
It wasn't me.
As you could probably guess, we started the year with committee assignments, and there were some things that we needed to look at. And we had some outstanding work done by governance, membership, programs, and exhibits. A couple of people that Vicki mentioned who resigned early were in charge of a couple of our committees that have not been functioning this year. You've heard all the things that the governance committee has been responsible for, and the programs and the membership. In addition, we had an ad hoc expansion committee that was chaired by Gwen. And their job was to develop a plan for moving into the building's additional space. After an extensive study, we hired the architectural firm of Odell, McGuire & Shook to do a feasibility study and concept design for the additional space. We've received a substantial donation to serve as startup money for a capital campaign, which will be on the horizon. And our committee structure cannot survive without members of the community stepping up and helping these folks out. We don't want our committees to strictly be board members. We want input from those supporters that we have and from the community. So if you'd like to help us, let the chairman know, let Lisa know, or let the new president know. We held a new member orientation session this year. That was very successful, and we're going to continue that because of the input from those members that attended. We'll have one in April for the new members, and hopefully we'll be able to get them off on the right foot. Through the Share the Dream and successes in Share the Dream and our donation programs from supporters, we have an endowment that is very close to $1 million, and the proceeds from that endowment make up the bulk of our operating funds for this museum. We're very appreciative of the folks that donate to that. For the first time, we did a board self-assessment this year, and that self-assessment indicated some areas that we needed to improve. And at each of our meetings since that self-assessment, we've looked at least 3 or 4 of the things that were indicated as weaknesses or things that we needed to work on. The results of those meetings and discussions will be provided for the new members to carry out and to make sure that some of those weaknesses are correct. As you already know, the restored acts that created Putnam County are here, and as you came in, that was one of the first things that you saw displayed on the wall. As Glenn told you, they were found in the courthouse in rather difficult shape. We sent them off and had them restored, and with the help of the county, that's been paid for. We've also restored, or in the process of restoring, the cowgirl paintings. We've had discussion on the possible conversion of the Big 4 depot to become a museum-managed asset. That's an ongoing discussion. We are working on the possible conversion of the Putnamville Museum to a museum-managed asset, or the museums at Putnamville. Those discussions are ongoing. No decisions have been made, but we're excited about the possibility of that becoming a part of this facility. We've increased and improved our security system, our climate control in the warehouse area. We've updated and expanded our website, social media presence. Our website now has right at 4,000 visitors. Our YouTube increased 31%. Our Facebook 16% in viewers. We participated in the International Museum Month with a display at the Putnam County Library. We were a part of one of the First Friday activities, working with the Putnam County Community Foundation. The building property that we have is now valued at $1 million plus, and that is a great accomplishment for us. Not only is my first year as president ending, but my 7-year tenure on the board is also ending. When I joined the board, we were exploring sites for a permanent home. We now have that home, and I'm happy to say that the entire building belongs to us. And the work that we've done over the last few years has, in my mind, saved this building. It was not in the best repair. It has now completely been re-roofed, and all of that work that we've done has been a result of the donations and the help that we've had from you folks. We have new signage on the highway and on the building. We have operational parking lot lights. We've expanded our handicap parking. We have this new meeting and exhibit room and new audio visual equipment. We are landlords also. We have rented space to the Elite Skyhawk Gym and Child Care Center. They have a 10-year lease with us with the opportunity to renew for another 10 years. And we rented warehouse space, additional space that we have, to DePaul University during their library project. And we are now in the process of getting papers drawn up to lease that space to a new tenant. And that income that we receive from Elite and from the warehouse pays our mortgage and feeds into our savings account that takes care of maintenance situations that we might run into. At our annual meeting in 2018, we began a Fab 15 campaign, which quickly turned into a Fab 25 campaign. And we asked for individuals to guarantee a $1,000 contribution to the museum over a 3-year period, over 3 consecutive years. That campaign, with the help of one super gift and one matching gift, yielded the museum $136,575. It was a major avenue for not only buying the museum, but also keeping the museum in good shape. It's been reported, and you've heard it a couple of times today, the American Alliance of Museums, that 1/3 of the museums in the country are facing permanent closure. We've not only managed to stay open, but we've improved our facilities and our services. This is due to the exceptional work of Lisa and her staff, the board, and the members of the community who continue to support us with their time, talent, and treasure. We can't do it without you. And it's been a privilege and a pleasure to work with such a caring group of people who work to make our museum the best that it can be. And I believe that this museum is one of the jewels of our county. And I thank you for your continued support. And it's my privilege to introduce to you Lisa Meyer from the Putnam County Community Foundation, who has a little bit of very good news for us. Lisa.
Good afternoon. As Murray said, for those that you do not have the pleasure to know, my name is Lisa Meyer, and I'm the Executive Director at the Putnam County Community Foundation. I was asked to share a few words about our dear friend, Ellie Ibma. Like the museum, Ellie was a friend, dedicated volunteer, supporter, and ambassador at the Community Foundation, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to honor her legacy today. Kind, passionate, intentional, adventurous, servant leader, visionary, and philanthropic. These are a few words friends use to describe Ellie. Ellie was kind. She was always willing to lend an ear and a helping hand. Ellie was passionate about education, service, and travel. She was involved in the after-school reading program at Govan United Methodist Church established a scholarship at DePaul University to encourage study abroad opportunities for our students, and adored furthering the mission of the Putnam County Museum, just to name a few. Ellie was intentional. She knew what needed to be done and never hesitated to roll up her sleeves to complete the task at hand. Ellie was adventurous and a lifelong learner. She traveled worldwide, meeting new people and experiencing new cultures. One of my last conversations with Ellie brings me so much joy as we talked about her travels to Southeast Asia and particularly to Cambodia, which holds a special place in my heart. Ellie was a servant leader, one who focused on the needs of others and who impacted the lives of so many here in our community. And at the end of the day, she wanted to do everything she could to make the community a great place to call home. Ellie was a visionary who trailblazed a path for so many. She was willing to take chances and travel to uncharted territory. And last but not least, Ellie embodied the definition of philanthropic. She is one who strived to make her community better every day and will continue to do so with her planned gift to the Putnam County Community Foundation and to benefit many of the causes near and dear to her heart, including the Putnam County Museum. On behalf of the Putnam County Community Foundation and the entire community, I want to thank and recognize Ellie for her foresight and philanthropic spirit that will better the county for generations to come.
Lisa.
I'd like to point out that, thank you, Misa, and your forerunners at the Community Foundation, because the restoration of the cowgill paintings was also underwritten by a generous grant from the Community Foundation, and our ability to, oh dear, yeah. Anybody know what aphasia is? Just happened to me, okay? The Community Foundation was instrumental in getting the museum, I think, moved into this building in 2006. Is that right, Jensen? Yes. So we also owe a great debt to our friend who is not here today, Bob Evans, for leading people in their planned giving and estate planning and so on to remember the museum, because that has been a very significant portion of our endowment monies that continue to increase. And last year, when we participated in the first ever First Friday that was sponsored by the Community Foundation, we raised enough money to put us within shooting distance of $1 million invested in our endowment. That is money that will keep the lights on for a long time to come. So anybody who participated and shared the dream, pat yourself on the back. It was very, very successful, and it has been for the last 3 or 4 years. People have really risen to that, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the foundation being a resource in our community, so thank you, Lisa. Jody, can you help me out here for a moment, please? This is a little emotional because the people who are stepping off of the board this year have been here since I came, and they're leaving, and I kind of want to go with them. These people have been instrumental in sharing insight and experience and just good common sense, and they've worked hard, and I appreciate that very, very much. And we have a little token of appreciation for these people, and I'm going to ask you to come up here, and I'm glad you're all right here, you know. So I expect to see you carry these out of the building, all right? Margaret, would you come and get your, I got to tell you, finding balloons in this town that say thank you is like looking for hen's teeth. I called 4 different places. Not Dollar General. Now, wait a minute, Margaret. This is for you. I want to give you a hug. Thank you for all your hard work. Yay, Margaret. Larry led us through our time with the pandemic and people not being able to come into the building. He went to the extra effort to take his Thursday talks of tiny towns and vanished villages. He recorded them all, and they are on our YouTube station, and that was a fabulous thing for us to say to people who couldn't come in, didn't want to come in. You know, you can look at our YouTube channel and you can watch some of these presentations so that you're still getting the benefit of what we're doing here. Larry did that all on his own with some significant help from wife Tony. So Larry, thank you very, very much. Hey Murray, get up here. This is a man who has been badgered, not by his wife, but by me. I met Murray Pride when we were in the same Leadership Academy class back in when? Yeah. Quite a while ago. He even brought me in his directory of membership of the Leadership Academy, which was good. I know where mine is, but it's in the garage, and it'll be years before I can see it again. He brought his in, and I'm keeping it because even though he's going to move away, perhaps he'll want to get back in touch with some of those people, and I will be who he has to contact. Murray has been stalwart. That doesn't mean fat. Or tall. He has been a good friend, and I'm gonna miss him, and the museum will miss him. Murray, this is for you.
Oh, thank you.
Don't spend it all in one place. Okay, all right, now, we're good, I can go?
I'll give it to my treasurer.
Let's have a hand. So you got some closing comments there? Oh, you have to do that. Glenn talked about the big birthday bash. You're going to be seeing more about that. The date is June 25th. And it will be here on our parking lot and in the building. And we will be doing that with the county and the city and North Salem State Bank, actually, who brought us our pins today, are actually underwriting the free food that day. So it's their 100th birthday. So party on. And primary, I'm sorry, Erin. No, this is important. I intend to ask him for more money. Prime Realty is sponsoring our wooden nickels. Now, you didn't hear that from me, but we're going to be giving away wooden nickels so that when people bring them back to come and visit the museum, they'll get a little prize.
And it was only a nickel, I think, right?
Right, here's the money I'm going to ask for. Right. Well, come. Sorry about that.
Any further business? Hearing none, I declare the annual meeting adjourned. We have cupcakes. Enjoy your conversations at your table.
Have your picture taken with the giant.
And you can come up and have your picture taken before Jency jumps out. Thank you very much for coming. It's wonderful to see people back in the museum. It's a great thing that the annual meeting was live. Thank you.